Welcome. We are on the third episode of the Web3 Squared series. I almost misspelled the name of the series. We have Vito as usual, and also Cat McGee. I'm so happy to have her here because we've been connected on Twitter, but we haven't interacted a lot. So, okay. So, how are you? Let's start with Cat. Cat.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Hey, Francesco. It's really good to meet you in person. I am great. I'm really excited to be talking about the future of the metaverse. Let's go.
Nice. Where are you from? Kat?
I'm from Ireland, but I'm actually just moved to Lisbon in Portugal.
I've been both to Ireland, I love that, and also to Lisbon. So I feel
Yeah,
like
I love Lisbon.
I feel a world person now.
Yeah, it's becoming like the crypto center of Europe. I love it in Lisbon,
Nice.
not Ireland. Nothing's ever happening in Ireland.
Nice. Vito, how are you, my friend?
GM. I'm pretty great today. I'm super happy to have Kat here as a guest in our amazing Web3 Squared. I practiced, I promise. How are you doing, Fra?
I'm doing well. I just skipped a meeting because I had to do this live stream. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So yes, I think we can start. Welcome everyone. And by the way, sorry, but we have organized this live stream just today. So we are trying to do this every 2 weeks. We are trying, but we are all busy, of course. So thank you, Kat, for being here. Vito will be the official host. But I'll also try to annoy someone somewhere at some points. I don't know if we'll share something, to be honest, but I just want to remember that, of course, you can like, subscribe, and share this video. So please be, let's make this an interactive live stream. Please, we see a lot of
Here's the thing.
friends.
Let's collaborate.
Smash that like button, guys.
That's
Please.
first. But
I
second,
always wanted to
because
say
we
that. I
have
have never said that.
because we have organized the live stream super late because of me, so shame on me. Share the video on Twitter, on LinkedIn, with your friends, with your parents, with your grandma, especially with your grandma, because what we're saying today is super interesting for people older than no, that's not true. We will talk about Web3 and the metaverse. Do you like
Your hair looks awesome. So yes. So
I don't know what happened. Today I took a shower. It was like an awful lot of
leave it like that. It's okay.
forever.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so we have some questions for you, Kat. But of course, if you have any questions, especially relevant to the topic that we are talking about, feel free to drop them. We will make this as a very interactive live stream. And we also some music in background. We hope you like that. We also some people from LinkedIn because we are streaming on multiple Web 2 platforms. So amazing.
No Web3 ones.
So,
We're
Kat,
waiting.
tell
Okay.
us who you are.
Yes, hello. I am Cat
That's right,
McGee,
that's
not McGee. I'm from Ireland. I've been in crypto since like 2016. Started on the dev side, did a lot of dev. I was actually like the 8th employee at Aave, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of. And I do developer relations at Hype Partners. I almost forgot the name of the company. And Hype is like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, marketing agency in crypto. We do a lot of community stuff and it's awesome. And I'm doing developer relations in there. So just moved to Lisbon recently to get more involved in crypto because I love this cult and being inside this cult. So yeah, really excited about all this. Web3, yes.
I love it. Well, how much time did we spend without saying Web3 during this call? Because the last record was around.
Yeah, we've just been saying crypto.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
You're so
I
welcome.
think we only just said Web3 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, having Web3 in the title of the series doesn't help at all, of course.
I know. Well, free square. Anyway, great. So you started in 2016. So
Yeah.
the super obvious question when someone says I started in 2016 is, have you made an awful lot of money thanks to crypto?
I've lost more than I've made, I think. Because at the start, it was right before like the bull market in 2017, but I was like freaking out and just kept selling everything. But I don't know, I've made some money, but I wasn't in it for the money, I'm in it for the tech.
She said
Of
some,
course.
She said some, so it can also be some million on the sum.
I
So
mean,
some, I love
I'm not
this
going to tell
sum.
you.
I made some money.
You can find my Ethereum wallet.
Okay, nice. Love this introduction. Okay, so what are we about to talk to today, Vito? I'll ask you, and then you'll ask to Cat.
So that's super funny, actually, because I reached out to Cat, I think 1 week ago, and we started speaking about Web3, and the conversation naturally orbitated around, what is the future of Web3 from a social economical standpoint? So what does it mean Web3 for the normal people, not the developer, not the investor with, cryptocurrencies and NFTs, not smart contracts, but from people, everyday people, your grandma, the grandma who you shared this video with, she's super interested in it because she wants to understand how this huge thing will impact her in her daily life, right? And Cat McGee actually had an amazing set of answers to this topic, and I'd really, really love to start again. So what is Web3 for you, Cat, and Fra, of course? What is Web3 for you, folks?
God, I could talk about this for the entire live stream. What is Web3? That is a very complicated question. Right. For me, it's like the fight back of Web2. So Web2, I have been against Web2. This is the whole reason I got into Web3 in the first place, was that Web2 has just given power to centralized services to manipulate your data and use you as the product. And that has been completely what this internet data economy is now. And I think Web3 is more about taking that power back. It's about owning your information. It's about democracy. It's for the people. And we're trying to take power back from these centralized entities and just decentralize power. And I think for me, Web3 isn't only just a thing that's going to happen on the web. It's because of how big the web is in our lives now, it's pretty much completely what, our entire lives are on the internet. It's much more, it's less just it's new tech. It's just a new wave of tech. It's the new wave of democracy, of globalism, of this whole, the people are coming up, are rising up against centralized entities. And I think that it's just a really important movement that isn't going to stop.
Nice.
That's what it is for me.
Nice. For me, of course, we like to joke Web2 versus Web3. I think I also made a thread about that some days ago. But for me, for real, it's literally the normal evolution. So we are here fighting. Oh, why are you studying Web3? But to be honest, I think it will be way more natural than what we think. It's not. It's a revolution, but it's not something that will happen in one day. Yeah. There will be some steps, and maybe. In 50 years, let's say, okay, so in this period, there has been this evolution. We are talking about the evolution of the web, since I'm old enough that I've seen this almost since the beginning. It didn't happen in one day.
Because you don't know that,
yeah,
but Fra is actually 60.
Yes, we started with some.
We
started with some very.
You're the grandma.
We started with some very ugly HTML pages, or maybe they were cool. I don't know. And then we switched, but in a very progressive way. So, of course, tech moves way faster than other, math, chemistry. It moves 10 times faster, but it still have to evolve. And of course, so we will go step by step. I think we're going in the right direction. We are not there yet. We'll have some period where we have a lot of mixed stuff. I think so. This is how I see that. Yeah,
it's going to be difficult as well to define what there is, because to get fully decentralized web, it means everybody has to run their own service, really, and there's absolutely zero way that's ever going to happen. So it's really difficult to define the difference between decentralization and centralization. So I think saying we're not there yet is a complicated thing, because we're always going to say, oh, we're not there yet because Facebook still exists, and we're not there yet because 20% of tokens are owned by a foundation or something. It's really complicated to decide what decentralization actually is. So I think that we're never going to be there, and just trying to say, oh, we're not there yet, it's at the start, is a difficult thing to say, You just have to keep decentralizing things as much as possible.
Well, total decentralization is probably impossible, as you said. I mean, not everyone can run their nodes, not everyone can be and also, let's be honest with it, total decentralization, it's super bad for the user experience, right?
Because people don't want it.
The adoption would slow relentlessly. But the thing is that, to a certain degree, we should aim to decentralize the things that we can decentralize. in a way
Yeah.
that actually works because it solves problems. I mean, the idea, the narrative of solves problems to build a great product is not, it's always true. If you solve problems like IDs, identity, or payments, of course, or renting a car, or providing documentation, or sharing information across countries to, I don't know,
Yeah.
intervening in anything, that's the real power thing. It's about open data more than, revolution or communism.
Right.
What do you
Yeah,
think about it?
100% agree with you.
Yeah, I think decentralization is way more difficult to implement. We have seen this in multiplayer games. We have seen this, if you're old enough, if you know what a Napster is or a mule are. For example, Napster, it was a friend of mine. I've never used that because I'm on live stream. I had some friends of mine who were using that. It was basically a centralized server for pirated music, and you can download that. But one day, someone went on their server, they shut that down, then just literally died. So the mule, it has been way harder to. I don't know if this still exists or not. Maybe, and everyone is just using someone.
A mule
maybe,
still exists, and it's super powerful. And you know why it's super powerful? I was talking with the father of my girlfriend, actually, and this is super interesting. And he doesn't know anything about uTorrent. He doesn't know anything about any kind of way to download stuff. He's still downloading music, MP3s, using a mule. But another cool thing about a mule is that you can write in the little search bar, like, I don't know, documentation for architectures, okay? And it will give you a bunch of stuff that's contained into other computers of people that have deliberately decided to share with you. And this is the power of decentralization. It is the fact that you can actually access data that is not indexed. Because remember it, if you access something on Google, it's because Google is indexing that. Okay, is nothing more than that. It's because Google thinks this is the kind of resource you want to read, the kind of resource you want to see. Okay, and rarely you go past the first page of Google. But in a less technological search engine that is actually connected to people's stuff, okay, you have actually more data that you can find online.
That's an interesting point, actually, because whenever you don't have indexing or like a centralized entity making decisions of information, then you get into the part about censorship and copyright and like aggressive, harmful material. And I think this is something I've been trying to talk to you about, people, because I don't even know what my opinion is on it. Because one of the main points of Web3 and blockchain and Metaverse and all these buzzwords is that like there's no censorship and it's immutable, right? That's like the entire point. So whenever something goes there that's like harmful content or copyright thing or something terrible that's on the internet, which exists a lot, the idea is that the people have the decision to get rid of it. But it's a complicated thing of like there's got to be a regulated thing for this kind of information. And I think we need to talk about a little bit more about censorship on blockchain, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
This is something that I really want to talk about. I don't know where to decide.
I was actually reading a comment that Cats might want to hear, that is, Cats blog are one of the best in Web3 space.
Thank you. Whoever said that. Amazing.
I can find it. What is that?
Hashnode.
Right above your...
There you go.
Yeah, found that?
Lost this.
Send it
Yes.
again. Love the analysis she does. Thank you.
Nice.
Yash. Thank you, man.
Yash is super supportive.
Victor, how do you pronounce your name? Do you want me to pronounce it with like the Italian pronunciation? Because that's funny.
Let's go.
Vittorio.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's right, isn't it?
It was mind-blowing for me in the first call. Like, okay, Vito, but my name is Vittorio. Okay.
Anyway, decentralization and censorship, yes. Let's talk about it. And how censorship... Actually, this is another thing. I started hearing about censorship resistant when I entered Web3.
Yeah.
I never heard someone complaining about Web2 censorship unless something huge.
Oh, really? Oh my God. You have not spent enough time on Web3 platforms then. Have you ever used Minds?
Yeah, as soon as I entered Web3,
I love
everyone is talking about
everyone's complaining. Well, because you don't see it because they're the people who get censored. So you can't see them complaining about it. But the people who get censored, like whenever you start to use Web3 platforms, you kind of see like, oh, that's why they're here, because they got censored on something else. So it's kind of like I mean, one of the whole points of Web3 is to remove like echo chambers and being stuck in this like constant feed of information that you already agree with because the algorithm's like, hello, here you go. But what I find with Web3 at the moment, I'm hoping it's not going to turn that way, is that Web3 is just this, if you actually use services with Web3, especially social media, it's just like this echo chamber of people who've been censored on other platforms.
Boom.
You know, so it attracts like the wrong kind of person currently. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be skeptic about this.
I'm super
I don't want
curious
to
about
just.
how do we protect, like, okay, when we talk, I was reading like yesterday night, I don't know if you ever read that, but it's super awesome. So if you haven't, go. And Ethereum is a black forest.
Maybe.
This is crazy, okay? This is the best article I've ever read. And there is also part 2 and part 3. Okay?
Where is it hosted?
It's on Paradigm. Ethereum is
Send it on private
Dark
chat.
Forest. Oh, no, maybe Dark Forest. Yeah, just a Dark Forest, not a... Can I send it on YouTube, actually? Does it make sense?
Send it out on the private chat, and then I'll
Okay.
do the dirty job.
Here we go. So this is amazing.
Oh,
Actually-
Dan. Okay, I know this guy.
Yeah. Do you know that?
Yeah, I don't think I've read this actually, but I know Dan Robinson.
No, it's amazing. I was actually informing. I was going down the rabbit hole trying to understand what MIV was, so maximum extracted value, and so on and so forth. And I ended up in this super amazing blog post by Dan Robinson that was talking about. I think Cat Freeze. No, he's back. Great. That was talking about this amazing, not amazing, but about Ethereum and how wild the Ethereum ecosystem is and how wild the crypto ecosystem is, because this, absence of intermediaries or third-party governors, like that call them. Hi, Julia. Actually put people that are not aware of the risks at risk a lot. Because censorship on one... Okay, we can argue about that. Okay, we can surely argue about that. But censorship, from a certain point of view, it might also be, to protect certain kind of people. This is not why censorship should exist. So my question is, how do we protect people that are not aware of, the risks of Web3? Because there are risks. How do we educate them? How do we educate them?
I don't understand the censorship.
Would you give your grandma like a wallet and send her in the Web3 space with her?
I think this is a serious question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And send her in the Web3 space saying, go, mama, and live your life in the decentralized world. No,
I think, people, I don't know. I think I would trust my grandma more than I would trust like a friend of mine. Because to be safe in the Web3 space, one of the biggest things that happens, one of the biggest scams that ever happened, is people just don't read what MetaMask is telling them is going to happen. Like people get like, that's really the biggest problem. Everything else, all the other scams exist in Web 2. The things that happen to Web3. There's just more of them right now because Web3 is completely focused on money and scammers and grifters. But that won't be the case whenever more people move over to Web3.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that is Web3 independent in terms of scamming is not reading what MetaMask is telling you is going to happen. And I feel like my grandma would read that because she doesn't understand. She doesn't trust the internet anyway. But my friend trusts everything on the web. It's like, yeah, it'll be fine. Like, just click yes, terms and conditions. Like, let's just move forward with this without actually reading what's about to happen. And then you give them access to your entire wallet. And that's the biggest scam that I think is actually separate, like Web3, that doesn't exist in Web2. But all the other ones are kind of already there. If that makes sense. So I just think we just need to, the whole point in Web3 is that it's trustless. And I think we need to start thinking like, yeah, let's not trust these corporations. Let's read what it's going to, what's going to happen here. It's all there. It's all transparent.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for example, in talking about trust, and then we talk about maybe Metaverse and other stuff. But for example, it always blown my mind like that now, for example, you have to trust like a bank. You have to trust that they will keep your money safe, even when you change them, when you use them. So this kind of trust that you should have with I've had to talk with some of the bankers, and I think they are one of the worst people in the world, of course. And I'm not talking about the people in the chat, but there are some.
But if you're a banker and you're in the chat, you're one of the worst people. I'm sorry for that.
But I mean, this sort of trust is maybe because since we are used to that, to this, it seems that it's okay. But for example, think that I don't know, all the money in the world will be like destroyed. I think in that case we'll just use cryptocurrencies now. I think if we all the world, so I think one of the major problems of Web3 and also this stuff is that they are trying to replace something which is already, let's say, working. So this is one of the main, I think, issues. So we will see in the next years what will happen. So this is one of the hardest part, I think. Iris, hello Vito. Hi Francesco.
I mean, it's not working. I mean, you have to understand. Yeah, like, I mean, these banks are making money from like. The thing that's in your account is not the money you have, it's the money that the bank owes you. Like, it's not even really a service. It's like they're using you, tech is using you. None of this is working. We're not using any of these things as tools. We are the tools that are being utilized. So like, I think that's kind of where we have to frame it. But I also do agree that there's a lot of things moving into Web3 that aren't really giving any more back than their existing counterpart on Web2. There's a lot of stuff. This is where I see a lot of similarities with the .com bubble, is that like people are just throwing in crypto and stuff, being like, yeah, it's crypto. And then people are all excited, like, oh my God, it's in crypto, it must go big. And eventually there's projects that aren't adding anything and are just like, yeah, we're using crypto, probably aren't going to go anywhere. But there's still a lot of projects that are utilizing crypto in an interesting way, using things that you can't do on Web2. And those are the projects that are here to stay. So I think like there is definitely a point to be made in, we're not really solving any problems that we haven't already solved. And there are a lot of projects that aren't.
I mean, that's a huge issue. And the biggest issue I think there is at the moment is that, I mean, running the airdrop of NFTs or creating your NFT collection without going through third-party providers such as, I don't know, OpenSea, right? Mm-hmm. Just to name one. It's risky. I mean, if your smart contract doesn't work properly, you might end up losing an awful lot of money. And thanks God that governments aren't yet regulating, such initiatives such as NFTs, airdrops, because if and this will change, and this changed with a .com bubble, right? That people were creating all sorts of businesses without any kind of regulation, and then government said, "Hey, you should stop doing that because otherwise we might sue you by like an awful lot of money." And people, the people that were professionals in the field dropped their projects. And so we started seeing more competition and more big players, taking the scene. Yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of blah 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 in the domain at the moment, and that's one of the reasons. To be honest, I'm not super sure I would give a wallet to my grandma, because even if she reads everything, because she doesn't trust the internet, so she wouldn't even pay with the credit card. People nowadays are super smart, and there are scams and there are situations that even me, that I'm a developer, I read everything. I do not accept. No, that's not true. I accept all the cookies because I know the struggle between analytics. But but I'm a developer. I lost $150 in Ethereum like 2 months ago because I misclicked a thing, and it was 1 second. Boom, nothing. So
1 second on Ethereum. Yeah, that sounds insane.
No, I couldn't drop the transaction. But yeah, that's why. So what I'm expecting from this domain, from this space, and in the future to become actually adopted, is to start creating some sort of software intermediaries, okay, not human intermediaries, but software intermediaries, able to validate stuff for everything, okay? We need validators. We need validators for, if you want to create an NFT, that image has to be original, and that's a validator. We need validators if you want to run a transaction on Ethereum, but there's something that's, doesn't really sound natural in your behavior. It has to stop that transaction, right? We need validators to avoid. If we want to remove institutions, we need validators. And proof of stake, proof of work is just not enough, because human behavior is unpredictable, right? What do you think about it? This is something I'm thinking a lot during, recent days, and it's not an easy topic. I know that.
I don't know, Vito, because I don't know if this could be like an extra layer. So in that case, you should decide, okay, so who creates this sort of software? Who should we trust this software or not? So then, of course, this is another layer. Of course, if that will be a replacement of an institution, if that's a free code available, and they will assure that the code available is the code that has been deployed, then maybe we can, let's say, sort of trust. But I don't know, I'm very skeptical, so probably I will more trust to myself and probably make some dumb mistake rather than using this software now. So maybe I'll use this like when it's like super secure, has been tested over, I don't know, at least 10 million people, and then I'll probably start to use that. I will not be one of the early adopters of this kind of additional validator layer. This is my point of view.
What concerns me about the validators is that like you're making it forces a smaller number of people to be making decisions. And you seem to think these decisions are very black and white, and the things that you mentioned probably are quite black and white. But it's like there will be a lot of gray areas that we get into, and then we're still trusting decisions into a small number of people, which then is just back to centralization. So it defeats the point of decentralization. That's what worries me about it. I do understand that there does have to be maybe some sort of layer or something, but I don't know. I don't know how to implement that because I don't.
Let's see what the people that are listening to the live think about the security on the blockchain. And let's try to keep it easier for this, for this hour. I think we should talk about it, but we should start from, of course, a philosophical, conceptual perspective to go down to the actual technicalities of these things, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense, right? How would work? Who would deploy it? Would be like machine learning involved? Can we use machine learning in the blockchain? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's a rabbit hole, and we don't really want to do that.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
But the other question, of course, is when did you start with Web3? So you started super early with the crypto world, with Web3 world. Yeah. What was your wow moment? When did you say like, okay, this is amazing, I have to join it?
Probably when I made my first K. No.
I'm
trying to. I didn't really have a wow moment, to be honest. I think for me it was like when I first got started in it, I was all about DeFi, like just making money from DeFi, and everybody that I spoke to was like, I don't understand why. Like, what is this? What is cryptocurrency? Why do you want this? Is just a hype thing that's gonna pass. And I felt like I was in this cult. And everybody in this cult was super happy and like going towards something and making money and like trying to have all these opportunities. And I was like, I just want to stay in this cult. Like that's what it felt like for me. And now it's like widened and it's not a cult anymore, and that's really happy. But I don't think for me there was a specific wow moment. It was just like, oh, I like this little community. I want to stay in this because everyone is happy in this community and people in the outside world aren't happy. It sounds very culty when I put it that way, but it also kind of felt culty too at the start.
Yeah, that's super true. I mean, that feeling of community and belonging to a community, that trust in something, that is some sort of faith, because it's like faith at this point. No, not at this point, but probably 6 years ago, it was hella, you had to trust in the Bitcoin a lot.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it wouldn't have worked. And I can feel why you actually got sucked into the rabbit hole.
Yeah. I mean, blockchain technology itself is just completely about community. Web3 is community at its core, like peer-to-peer technology literally is community. And it's just such a good, it's the whole point of it, is that it's the people with the power rather than the little guys at the top,
Mm-hmm.
So I really love that about it. That's what got me into it. But obviously, for me, it was mainly like a revolution against Google. Google was my big, hated them. And
yeah,
Facebook, obviously.
Google,
Facebook. Yeah, Google and Facebook.
Like
because everybody, anti-fang from as long as I can remember. I was mainly anti-Google rather than anti-Facebook because everybody hates Facebook. Everybody knows Facebook's kind of bad, and Google has such good PR even though they're almost competitors with Facebook in the way their business works. They still do the data mining. They still show you information they think you want to see. It's the same like potential like problems that Facebook has. But everyone loves Google because they have such really good like PR and marketing. So it's really interesting. I have some theories on why that is, but we don't have to get into that right now.
I think we should like host one live a week with Cat. And like the first week we talk about why Facebook is bad for humanity.
Oh my God, yes. I would love this. Let's get to rap for an hour and people will listen to me. Yes, let's do it.
See you next Friday. Okay, so I think we should, let's remove, or you can be every week, Cat. So now.
Sounds good to me.
Nice, perfect. We are recording everything which Cat is saying. Any roadmap to help new Web3 folks to start weekly instead of getting lost in tutorial hell of Web3? There we go.
We're building this.
There we go, Vito. I'll send you an invoice after this. But
I think
Vito has replied, but of course we all have a different ways. Kat, would you like to say?
Well, roadmaps are awesome. Obviously, this is a great one. But I do think the best way to get involved, because everyone has their own thing in Web3, and Web3 is such a massive thing. Best thing you can do is use some products, find out which products you're actually using, why you like them, get involved in the community, and you're just going to learn more and more by doing that. The community is going to help you know which ones to like, what languages to learn, and where to find jobs and what products to use. But honestly, like in my experience, a lot of people are wanting roadmaps and they want the quick, like, I just want to learn how to code on blockchain. And then they apply for a job on blockchain, and like, I mean, if I'm interviewing, I'll be like, okay, well, what products have you used? What communities are you involved in? And they won't know because they've only done this roadmap thing. So I think it's just so important to get involved in the products and understand why you like Web3, and then it's just going to naturally come to you and you'll know which direction to go.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I can give my 2 cents as a, say, new learner. For example, now I'm focused on just one type of blockchain, which is Ethereum, because I think you also, Vito, once you commented like, but there is also this kind of thing on another blockchain, but I don't want to focus on too many different blockchains. I think this will change maybe next week. But for example, I try to learn the concepts using one blockchain and then I'll switch to other ones, because otherwise you really start to feel overwhelmed. Like, okay, you need to understand all the different blockchains, the differences. So for sure, I'll jump into that, but first of all, I want to learn one blockchain in a decent way. I've checked using the Ethereum docs, the Solidity docs, of course, Vito articles and videos soon. I think he is about to read news. I am refreshing his YouTube channel almost every day. But now I'll check something. But
the day I finished recording it. But you said a really, really, really important thing, and it's about blockchains. And the issue exists if you're talking about like cross chains. So if you're talking about Ethereum and Solana, or Flow and Ethereum, or Solana and Flow, this won't work. And first, this is super risky. So if you start creating like multi-chain, okay, I think there is a question about it and the wormhole issue in the comments, because I saw that before. So if you can bring it up, someone talking about the wormhole issue.
I don't find it, but
Wormhole tag. What you think in favor of multi-chain concept?
This one.
Not yet. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy, right? This is crazy. This is a free, I don't know, like 20,000 Ethereum. I won't say how many dollars because it's my theory, but this is a huge issue. And what happened is that Vitalik spoke about it once. But if you want to send assets from one blockchain to the other, what happens actually is that you create a wrapped version of the original currency. So you lock into a smart contract a certain amount of currency, and the contract using an oracle contacts the other blockchain, and the other blockchain means a certain amount of tokens to you on the other blockchain. So you can send money from Ethereum to Solana, from Flow to Ethereum, and it's super funny until someone finds out that you can actually, outrun transactions. So you can essentially intercept a transaction on one side, okay, revert it, So take back your money on Ethereum, but because data consistency is not shared across blockchains, the other blockchain will still see it, will still receive the minting command for a certain amount of tokens, and this will blow up both blockchains because you're literally creating money out of nowhere, right? And this shouldn't happen. So other than it's super difficult to learn multiple blockchains at once, is not even suggested. So thank you, Francesco, for bringing this up. But you can use Ethereum and Polygon, for example, or Ethereum and tell me another L2 chain, Arbitrum, or Optimism.
Avalanche.
Avalanche.
Optimism, yeah, with the roll-ups. They're really cool.
So use those, but don't use Ethereum and Solana as a application.
Is Solana not? Hold on.
Maybe before we close this live stream, I would like to at least touch the title, which is Metaverse and NFTs. So
we haven't even talked about that.
please.
Whoops.
Otherwise, some people can get upset. Like, what is the Metaverse?
Okay, let's talk about the Metaverse.
Please.
We should probably define the Metaverse first.
No, the thing is that you're right, but we lied to you. The Metaverse is all the things we just said. So it's about censorship resistance. No, Cat is not agreeing with that.
I mean, the Metaverse is so many things. The whole the word Metaverse means merging real life and virtual life, and Facebook has taken this to mean VR. And oh my god, I just hit them. It's a whole thing. We'll talk about that in another live stream because I'm so mad. But and then like the Web3 world is taking this to mean crypto and like ownership, which is slightly more real life because you have ownership that exists on a blockchain independently of the platform, which is more of a real life ownership. Yeah. But I don't think any of these things are, because they can't, none of these things is really what the Metaverse like is to me. I don't know. I think the Metaverse is just a really complicated thing. A lot of people seem to think it's just like Second Life or Club Penguin or one of these like avatar platforms that to me is just not, because if we are going to go that way, oh my god, I have so many things to say about this. I'll let someone else talk.
Yeah, for example, I have some of my friends of mine who are super excited about Metaverse, but they don't like the Web3 world. This is not so they are not interested. So
what part of the Metaverse are they interested in? VR?
All the VR part, this Second Life that you can jump into a virtualized world, but they don't like blockchain and other stuff. So this is interesting, I think, because some people can think like that they are the same thing, but maybe some of them.
I don't think they're the same thing, because I don't think Meta is doing anything with the Metaverse at all. I think I talked about this the other day, like Facebook's entire business model is basically putting you into this unrealistic world of showing you this information, fake news, keep you engaged in the platform. Their merge into Metaverse or VR is just the exact same thing. It's them keeping you in this unrealistic real life, and it's just going to get more and more confusing to distinguish real life from virtual life, but they're not adding anything to real life at all. They're just adding an extra layer on top of their existing thing. It's like, hey, it's Facebook, but you can see people, avatars. I don't think it's ever going to take off, because VR has been a thing for ages and it hasn't, like, no one's really done anything cool with it. I don't think Meta is going to do anything cool with it. They're just trying to add on this weird layer on top of reality that's just not real. And I think that the point of the Metaverse is to merge real and virtual life, and VR is not that. VR is just adding another thing on top of saying it's like closer to real life. No, it's not. It's further from real life than we're ever going to get. So I think Web3 and the idea of Web3 is the things that you own on a blockchain project are independent of the project. And that's more of like a real life ownership. To me, that's more of a real life thing. And that can be VR, that can be anything.
Yeah,
it's just not Facebook.
Yeah, in 50 years, everybody will wear a VR, and someone will comment, "This video aged very bad."
Yeah.
Every time you mention Facebook or Google, Cat is literally like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
They're not. They're oh my god. Mark Zuckerberg is like.
I said a bad word in a monetized video. Let's
No
go.
problem. No problem. You know what will
invoice.
happen, Vito. No problem. You can donate to this live stream and so on, and I'll get some.
I'll
money.
do.
Yeah.
I'll do. Can I donate with crypto? No, I can't.
For sure, yeah, of
What?
course. Nice. Yeah, for example, a use case that I think that maybe someone is saying, I'm not an expert on this, by the way, it's like the merging like the NFTs with the Metaverse. For example, in Metaverse, you can see these NFTs. So does this make sense or not?
Well, to me, that is the metaverse. To me, like, the metaverse is NFTs, and it is it's a whole thing of different platforms that can exchange with each other because it's your ownership, not theirs. So an NFT that you build or have or make or buy on this platform can be taken off it, maybe potentially put to another one, or just taken off the blockchain and traded in a different way, or like something happens to this game where they change it around and you still have this like ownership of this NFT. So to me, that's what the metaverse is. It's not VR or virtual worlds. It's the ownership inside of them. That makes sense.
Yes. I don't know if you ever seen Ready Player One, the film. Have you ever seen that?
I think I have a long time ago.
It's like
Yeah.
we have VR in a mobile apartment, and then but in the metaverse, he's like a superhero with all the gear,
Right.
epic gear, and other stuff. So I don't know.
I don't remember it. Yeah.
You've seen this?
For a second, I thought
Yeah.
it was an Italian film, but it isn't. That it isn't.
Oh.
We made something similar.
Nice.
I think currently there are two, just to respond to what Valerie said, blockchain will be a huge part of metaverse. 100% want to agree with you. I think right now there are two like battling things of what metaverse is, and it's Facebook, Meta, and Mark Zuckerberg being like, hey, join our ecosystem, come into this metaverse. And then it's Web3 people being like, ownership, projects interacting with each other, virtual worlds that are connected with real worlds and ownership. And these are, to me, they are different things. And I never ever see them colliding because Mark Zuckerberg is a terrible person.
We're trying to get a comment.
I don't know if we can actually publish this video. I mean, we all have relations, right? So we should like be like PRs in the companies. But we're like, yeah, fuck Zuckerberg.
Again, Vito.
Yeah, this is your fault.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I did it. My fault. Anyway,
Okay.
It's been super amazing to speak with Cat today. I don't think this can be like the only live we do with Cat at all. So
I hope not.
you'll
That
probably
was fun.
see Cat a lot on our YouTube channel, on our Francesco YouTube channel, but it's became our YouTube channel. So it's been a pleasure. I love the stuff we said. I love all the inputs we gave to our audience. Actually, let's organize another one.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm up for that. And blockchain dev, cool to see such videos and live session. Thank you, Hamed. Nice. I hope that you like the format. I hope that you liked the background rock music. We can talk about that in a separate session. Thank you, Kat. Finally, I almost met you, so maybe we will also meet in person.
Are you in Denver? Are you going to Denver?
No, maybe
No.
It's been too
Neither
late.
of you. What? You
Next
can still
one.
apply.
Next one.
Yeah.
It's too late. It's too late to organize.
Can't
We're
believe it.
meeting
Can't
him
believe
in
it.
Paris.
Paris.
When?
Yeah, there's Eve Paris. I'm gonna
When?
send you the
When's that?
calendar.
Let's do
Come
it.
to East Dubai.
Yeah, it's later on in the year. I don't know, like second quarter.
Dubai's in
probably.
March.
Second quarter is like in 2 months. Just want to be.
Yeah, I mean, second quarter is a huge amount of time, right?
Why has this happened?
Nice. Okay.
Anyway,
Perfect.
All right.
we need-
Thanks for having me, guys.
Nice.
our pleasure.
Thank you.
Mayo,
Thank you.
have a
Bye,
great
everyone.
weekend.
Bye,
Oh,
everyone.
we have a space on Sunday. Woo! We have a space on Sunday.
So, for sure.
Yeah,
I
I'm
haven't
gonna
seen
announce
that
it
yet.
tomorrow. So
Okay.
be ready.
Okay. Nice. Bye, everyone.
Bye.